it is very imperative, it is very necessary to give my perspective of why did I choose this particular topic. So I was, based on my experience, I've been associated with Dale Carnegie for a long time. I've been a part of Vodafone. Vodafone is a communication company, right? And I've spent 8 long years, the longest stint of my career. And as Dr. Bothe and you all agree that, it is very important that the moment we come out of our college, we all want, or we all aspire that we start our careers on a good note. I guess 22 years back in Mumbai, when I joined my first organization, Reliance Communication in Mumbai, I was also excited. However, the best part was that when I started my professional journey, there were a lot of revelations that happened as a fresh grad. We come now. This is something that I'm talking about myself. I don't know how many of us would be able to relate, but don't look at me what you see about me right now. But I'm talking about 22 years back, when I guess I was around between 22 to 25, and there was a specific focus that I had. I was excited that I've joined Reliance Communication back then. And with the academics, you're excited, you're fully excited that, now you're starting a new career. You will be self-sustained. You slowly and steadily, you will stop being dependent on your parents, and, you will start leading your life. But as I said, the revelations, when you start interacting with your seniors, the revelation when you start, getting the task done, they kind of bombard, and that's where you realize that there is a lot that you have to still learn. It's not just the academics that, but obviously the academics give you a platform. It is the stepping stone to get into the corporate career, and that's the reason why I kept on, while I started my journey, it was a lot of experience, and I'm sure Rupam and everyone must have gone through that similar anxiety, similar experience in the initial years. Later on, you kind of start settling down, and you start figuring it out that, what you have and what you need to develop, right? So I came across a research done by prominent management organizations like Harvard, the LinkedIn portal, and you can also find it. You can Google it, and you would come to know, if you type in this particular question, that what are the top 10 competencies, what are the top 10 skills that any corporate in general across the world would want in their employees. You would find a list. I will share my screen, and I would like to show everyone the finding. Yeah, and this is not me. This finding is from, as I said, the research done by stalwarts like LinkedIn, Harvard, and Stanford University. And these are the top 10 skill sets that you would find which are common across any organization today. If you look at what are the skill sets that they are looking at, make an imprint of this particular slide that I'm showing. These are the top 10 skills that the corporate look at while hiring a new person, which is either a fresher or any experienced folk, any experienced professional. Yeah. Now, I would like to ask this question and open the discussion that out of these 10, pick up any 4 that you feel, according to you, are the most important, based on your experience, obviously based on your understanding and your academic acumen. Just pick up any 4, top 4 for yourself, that you should, according to you, these are the top 4 which are important for me to step into any career aspiration that I have. So think about it. The base of any skill that you want to master, and I'm just showcasing the top 10. There would be hundreds of skill sets in the world, but I've just picked up the top 10 based on research, right? And then the conclusion is that multiple people have selected multiple 4 combinations, correct? Some, as Rupam responded, 1, 2, 4, 7, 1, 2, 8, 9, whichever. But eventually, the next question which I asked, can you master any of the 4 without mastering the listening skills ability? The answer is no. And that's the reason why I've selected this topic today. Though, everything is important and well said, I don't deny you need good communication skills. And I still remember 22 years back, 23 years back, when I was in my graduation days, even, my seniors or my mentors or, the surrounding people, they kept on telling me that communication skills plays an important role. Now I'm a father, I'm doing the same thing with to my kid. But then, eventually 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line of work experience, I got to know new skill sets, problem solving, adaptability, leadership skills, initiative and self-motivation. So, and then later on, gradually, I also started understanding what is emotional intelligence. So I took my own time to now that we are talking about, now this flash comes in front of you all. But I'm talking about 20 to 25 years back, where YouTube or internet was still, a young fellow, right? So, but yes, I'm glad that I got good mentors in my initial years of my career who started giving me those knowledge bites that, Makarand, if you want to grow in your career, these are some of the skill sets, and you need to reflect back in terms of what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, or rather I would say areas of development. So you will start hearing these options very often when you start your professional journey. But at the same time, I strongly believe that you should ask this question to yourself, every individual, that why is listening important for me? Okay, there's no specific definition when you're trying to answer this question. Why is it important for me, right? And why should I master this particular skill? Now, you all know that it is important, but why? I would like to help you understand that if you are really stuck with this particular question, then pick up a pen and paper and write down what is your career aspiration. What do you want? What is the purpose that you want to, work for with particular organization or start your career? What is that purpose? And that answer will help you to get this particular answer, which is connected with why listening. Why should I master listening skills? And I was noting down, the first 3 questions, the survey questions that Rupam asked. What are the challenges? And the topmost challenges were staying focused. So one hand, you have your purpose that you want to achieve, and then the challenge, which is, staying focused. The second question, which is, thank you, Rupam. Yeah, the second question is how often do you consciously practice active listening? 43% people are saying always, and it's good. But I would like to give you a realistic picture, okay? And then probably you can take another survey and ask yourself, how often do you consciously practice active listening in your professional interaction? Forget about professional interaction. I'm talking about how often do you actively listen in a day? Simple. Okay, be it a Sunday or be it a Friday or be it a Monday. Okay? Irrespective of whatever conditions that you are in, whether you are in your holidays or whether you are in your exams, whether you're preparing for your exams or whichever scenarios are numerous, but in a day, in the last 24 hours, please try and measure how many hours, how many minutes were you really actively listening to your surrounding, okay? Because that takes me to one more important question, which is, the focus that we have to keep. And focus is linked with the purpose. Why would we listen? So there's a study called as, there was a psychologist or an author who talked about, why would a human being any human being, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of the geography, irrespective of the age, why would a human being listen? Okay. Now, I put this across to you all. Why would a human being listen actively to another person? One line answer, and I guess that sums it up. You would, as a human being, you would actively listen when the message is for your benefit. Correct? We all adults, we work on a single line. Anything which is important for me, I will listen, which increases my focus. So when we say I'm currently focusing, why would you focus? The most important reason would be because you know that this is important for you. This will benefit you. When I say you, we all of us, right? The benefit of what is important can differ. What is important for Rupam versus what is important for Makarand can differ. But we as adults or we as human beings, we all know what is important for us. And that is precisely one single reason why or when you would focus on listening. And that's the most important reason why I asked you, find your purpose. The moment you are clear, and it's a journey, you won't get an answer right away. It's not that, I asked you a question and you will start writing your purpose. It will take its organic time. We all, as individuals, if there are 150 participants, 150, no one can say that, we'll get this answer in the next 5 minutes. It is dynamic. As individuals, we have to find that answer. And the moment you find your purpose, that very moment you will also start focusing. The moment you find your purpose, that's the moment when you would start active listening. And the moment you are aware, when are you supposed to listen actively, you eventually would grab or master those 4 competencies that you selected, which will then help you in your careers. So it's all connected, okay? And it is all cyclic. Why am I saying it is cyclic? Because every year, each one of us will evolve. So the purpose that I have today for this year may not be the same 5 years down the line. So you have to keep on asking this question to yourself, because your answers may differ by time. And that's precisely why I selected this topic, and I wanted to show you, the levels of listening. Now, going back to the survey of how many people feel that they are actively listening. The second question, right? And I asked you, give you a counter argument that forget about professional approach. Just ask a simple question: in the last 24 hours, what percentage of time in the last 24 hours you have been actively listening in your surrounding? And you will be shocked, because again, there's a huge disruption which is going on, right? While I'm talking to you all right now, I can easily get deflected to other things which are happening around me. But the moment I activate my brain saying that, Makarand, between 4 to 5, the most important thing to do is to interact on this particular forum. The moment I'm aware, I'll immediately switch on my active listening skill set. But if I say that I'm in the last 24 hours, around 50% and more, I was actively listening, I am cheating myself. Humanly, it is not possible. Try it out. But we need to be aware that when am I supposed to switch to active listening? So hence there are levels. In the last 24 hours, ask yourself what percentage of the time in the last 24 hours you were ignoring your surrounding. When I say ignoring, I'll give you a quick example. Let's say Rupam is my friend, okay, and Rupam had called me in the morning, example. Was I seriously listening to her over the call, or I was just, pretending or ignoring? Is a question that I should ask myself. There are chances, humanly it is possible that, I can't be actively listening 24/7. It is not humanly possible. But the moment I come to know that, oh, Rupam is calling and Rupam is important for me, which then connects with my purpose, which then connects with my focus, then my brain will give me a signal that you have to listen to Rupam on an active level, right? Because the fact of the matter is, in the last 24 hours, there are people you have ignored. There are people to whom you have pretended as if you are listening to them. Yeah. The third is selective listening. In the last 24 hours, I admit that I have been selectively listening to some people because my focus was somewhere else. And the moment I came to know this is of my importance, I kind of yes, please tell me. And then the moment I grabbed that message, okay, the conversation continued, but then it was selective. So I kind of, okay, now I can ignore. I'm talking about myself, right? Now, attentive and proactive are again, attentive is obviously we would want to be attentive 24/7. But as I said, the fact is we can't. And then one more level, which is proactive. Now, how can you verify whether you are attentively listening or you're proactively listening? So it is very simple, okay? It's a monologue right now. In the last, I don't know what is the time right now. It is almost 4:40. In the last 20 odd minutes that I've been talking, it's a monologue. Right? I've been talking and you all are listening. At what level are you listening to me? It's okay if you have been ignoring me. It is fine. It only says that if one of you are, anyone who is ignoring this particular topic, maybe this is not important. It is not a focus for that particular individual. There are also people who are actively listening, as in wherein they are at an attentive level or they are at a proactive level. Now, how can I find it? It's a debatable matter. But yes, as a speaker, I have been asking questions I have asked you at least 5 questions. People who have responded to me through the chat window, I can confidently say that they are proactive listeners at this point of time. Because the moment I asked the question, they responded to my question. So they are with me. They are actively present. They are mindfully present with me right now. And that's how simple, trick you can find out if you want to find out, how many people are actively listening to you when you are speaking. Same goes to, you can also reverse it. If you want to check, validate in the last 24 hours, how many times have you not been actively listening? So ask yourself this question: who asked you a question and you were like confused? And that's the time. The moment you're confused, that's the time. You very well know that you were hanging around within the selective level or a pretending level. Now that is something that I leave it up to you. But the big fact is that we keep on switching in these 5 levels. At times we are ignoring, at times we pretend. There are times when we are selectively listening, and then we also switch between attentive and proactive. And I'm only talking about the last 24 hours. Now you can keep on calculating, and you can keep on measuring the way you keep on measuring your weights. Right? You can keep on also measuring your levels of how. One of the ways is you find your own purpose. The moment you come to know what is important for you, which is linked with your purpose, you will automatically, you'll be forced, your brain will force you to actively listen. If you're confused in terms of what is your purpose, you will keep on fluctuating. I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about in general, anyone. Now, this happens with all of us. Believe me, after 22 years of experience, it's not that I've mastered the skill of active listening. No, I will never say that, because there are new challenges even for me as I'm leading a particular function. And at times, because there is lack of information with me, even I'm confused, and that confusion leads me to, kind of be more into selective or ignoring or maybe pretending levels of listening, because I am still trying to find that purpose. The moment I get my purpose, I'm like free. Okay, now I can then switch to from selective, I can go on to active and proactive levels of listening. So that is one way, clear way. Second, I would link it with the answers that you all responded with, which is human relations. We all know who are important for us. Like, for example, I'm a father today. So my son is important for me. My wife is important for me. My parents are important for me. The moment I come to know who all are important for me, I can easily, switch from between these levels. I can go from ignore to being a proactive the moment I come to know this relation is important for me. Good question. So difference between active and passive. Now there can be different words. Now passive is something that I will keep in the bucket of selective, pretending, and ignoring. Okay, again, as I said, passive as a definition you can apply it in different levels. Passive for me is while I'm driving my let's say I'm coming back from my office. It takes around 2 hours for me. It's a 40-kilometer distance between my home and my office. So passive listening is something wherein instead of listening to the honks and the surrounding noises, I keep my radio on in my car and I'm passively listening, which makes me mentally cool down and then enjoy my ride for the next 2 hours. Is it important for me while listening to a radio? Where the answer depends on a human being, human to human, every individual. But that's something which I will keep in the bucket of passive listening. Second example can be, let's say I'm using a metro and then there is some announcement which is going on in the background. I know that there is some announcement, but I haven't paid attention because it was not important for me. Passive listening. And I hope active listening, I don't need to repeat the definition. I've already given enough explanation. Cut the clutter. In short, I would like to describe it like that. Cut the clutter. There can be n number of distractions around you. They will, this is something that is endless, right? Every day you have n number of unwanted things which are going around. You see unwanted things. You listen to unwanted stuff. Cutting the clutter is an exercise that we all individuals or we as human beings, we need to practice. And again, I'm keeping it very simple. Don't come under pressure. Just ask yourself, what is your objective? Which is again, what is your purpose today? Or the place where you are. What's your purpose? What do you want from that scenario? Right? And you will automatically start filtering out information which is important for you to connect with your purpose or to achieve your purpose. I think, again, I'm not giving you any specific framework or a structure, but I think you can't design a structure. As I said, every scenario is different. There are multiple challenges. You don't know what are you going to face as a challenge tomorrow. You can only predict, you can only prepare. But the way I do it is, I make it to a level where I try connecting it with the purpose that I am trying to solve. And that helps me to settle down. That helps me to connect with what is important and negate what is not important. Absolutely. So my last slide, as I said, I don't want to make it more complex. My purpose was to keep it very simple because half an hour, you can't eat a buffet within 30 minutes, right? So let's only try pani puri or, a small dessert, right? So if you really want to master the art of listening, then I am giving you 9 pointers, you can say. You tell me, what are the top 5 that you would select for yourself? There are 9 ways if you practice these 9 principles, you can master the art of listening. But I am saying, let's keep it very simple. You select any top 5 for yourself, based on your personality, based on your objective, based on your purpose. But it was a tricky question. All 9 are important. They all are interconnected. So, if possible, take a snapshot, a screenshot of this slide. There can be 9 more principles, so a total of 18 or 36 principles. Important is keeping it short and simple. So I thought of these 9 principles. If you practice them in your day-to-day life, it can help you also get a clarity of thoughts, what your purpose is and why you should actively listen to a person, and also help you practically that your eye contact is very important. You can't ignore, if you're talking to an individual, you can't be looking everywhere. And that eye contact talks a lot, and it talks a lot about you as a person. I'll give you an honest example. There are 120 people who are scanning me right now just by my face, because that's the upper torso that you're able to look right. You're able to view, but you're scanning me. You're scanning me in terms of whether this person can be trusted. Your eyes are telling your brain whether this person is talking truth or is it making sense, whatever Makarand is saying. My facial expressions are also building trust between both of us, right? So be well aware that the moment you step outside your house, there are people who are scanning you top to bottom, and your credibility is in your hand. You can either make or you can break your credibility on a daily basis. Okay. Now, even if you break your credibility, don't worry. I would say, try to make it on the next day. So hence, maintaining eye contact, why is it important? Ask yourself a simple question. Is your credibility important for you? If the answer is yes, then please maintain eye contact. Observe good body language. I'm sure your colleges must have, taught you certain aspects of why body language is important. Patience is something that, again, I cannot describe it within 1 minute. But yes, you can read material in terms of, how can you also show patience. So patience is, don't ever tell your interviewer that, I have good patience. Never say that. Okay. I've done those mistakes. Empathetically listen. That's when you show your active side to the other person, right? Try and listen to understand, right? Clarify, ask questions, and typically ask yourself whether are you good in drafting questions. I repeat this. Ask yourself this question. Are you good at drafting questions? In simple words, do you ask good questions? If the answer is yes, good. If the answer is no, start practicing. Okay. I'll give you an example, a typical school scenario. When, go back when you were in your 4th standard, 3rd standard, there always used to be a competition. The moment the class teacher would ask a question, we all would try and jump to give an answer without thinking. You will now get more and more complicated questions, and this time it is not your teacher. This time it is your professional counterparts, and through that question you will be judged. So don't jump on an answer. Think, and hence listening is important, because then it impacts your credibility. It impacts your personality. It's very important to balance your communication with emotions as well as logic. Okay, you don't need to answer my question right now. According to you, and this question is for everyone. According to you, who is the best communicator in your setup? Like, for example, I'll give you one example. I think we lost Ratan Tata yesterday. He was a good communicator, right? So an idol for me is Ratan Tata. Then there are many. For example, I strongly believe that Dr. Abdul Kalam sir was a good communicator, and you would find out that his English language was not fluent. Yeah? If you watch his videos, if you watch his lectures on YouTube or on any online medium, you would find that his language was not polished. He was very fluent in his mother tongue, no doubt. But when he used to talk in English, it wasn't fluent. But that did not dampen his connect with his audience. Correct? Be it a 8-year-old kid or a 5+-year-old kid, or be it a 50+-year-old person. He would easily connect with the audience. The reason is because he would understand what are people wanting to listen from me. What are they wanting? What is going on in their mind? So he would study to understand the audience and then start responding. And that's the reason why, such people become good communicators. Now, Ratan Tata sir or Abdul Kalam sir, they are at that particular level. I'm talking about, let's say, myself. Okay. Today, if I'm talking something which is not congruent to your thoughts or whatever that I'm talking, it does not make sense logically, you will immediately go on to an ignoring mode as a participant. Any which ways we are online. I can't see 111 or 120 people right now. But you would have not you would have not even responded to me, because the moment you come to know that this person is not balancing emotions and logic as a part of his communication, the attention mode goes down. And I give a classical example. In my college days, I still say that, out of 7 professors, not all 7 professors, and Dr. Bote would agree to me, not all 7 professors were impactful. We would always love to attend our physics professor and our chemistry professor lecture. 100% attendance. And now if I go back and reflect, why we used to love? Because my professors of chemistry and physics, they would connect with us. They would make a complicated, complex topic sound very simple, with examples, with something that we would laugh with or we would connect with. And that's the key. That's all. You don't have to replicate a laptop or a computer. You don't have to be mechanical. We are human beings. We are creatures of emotions. The only thing is we have to balance it between emotions and logic. That's what our brain interprets. Try it out. See, in the last 1 hour, I switched my brain. I instructed my brain that this 1 hour is important because it is important for me as an individual. You have published me, you have introduced me as a professional with 22 years of experience. I cannot go down, correct? So just imagine the way I have, and the way prior to this session, how did I start? Makarand, you can't let yourself down for the next 1 hour, right? Because your credibility will go out. So hence, day before yesterday, we did that calibration between both of us, between Wadhwani Foundation and myself. What do you expect? Who is the audience? So this pre-analysis was done to ensure that I give, because I was being told that it's only 30 minutes, right? So in 30 minutes, what is the value that you can give? People should remember your name for long. At the end of the session, they should smile and say, okay, in the last 1 hour, I picked up at least 2 pointers which I will now start applying. So I had kept a clear objective, and that trigger helps me to actively listen. And I've been an HR professional for the last, I would say, 19 years. I've been dealing with people. If I start passively listening, or if I defer to what I'm trying to say, walk the talk is not happening. And people may respect me for my position, but they will not respect me as a human being, I guess. And I think similar is applicable for all of us, right? We want respect. We want us to grow in this society. We want people to talk good about, but it is a give and take, right? You give respect, only then people will respect you. Giving respect is by actively listening. Stay positive. You stay clear in your thoughts, because these two things will help you to then achieve the next three, which is write down your fix up on your objectives, what you want to achieve, be adaptable, and at the end, I would say the most important is be a human being.